So today's video, guys, don't skip the intro. I'm going to help you understand what's going to be going on in this video. I'm going to do some history behind not only the movement inside this actual watch, the Phylida SP-31, which is the Seagull ST-19 movement, which is very interesting. So I'm going to discuss that a little bit, but also going to discuss the original watch that this Phylida is paying homage to. Now, there's a bit of interesting history behind the Omega and how it came to nothing really, but for some reason it's now become a bit of a cult. I think it's because it's rare and is the result of being a bit of a flop, not a huge commercial success. But as we know of many things, if they become rare later on down the line, they become collectible. So ultimately things can be a success later on in life. I hope that doesn't apply to me because I don't want to wait that long. So just to start the video off with a bit of context behind the Omega that this is paying homage to, I've written some notes. I've tried to memorize this, but effectively in 2013 at Baselworld, the big show in Switzerland where brands release their new upcoming releases, effectively. They present what they got coming, and there's lots of hype and hoo-ha around new things. And at the same time as this Tintin was supposed to be being released, it kind of was buried in sort of being forgotten by a new 15,000 Gauss movement Omega released, and there was the Dark Side of the Moon Speedmaster edition. It's kind of just got forgotten, the Tintin, which is a shame because I think it could have been a commercial success. But the Hergé family, which effectively Hergé was the Frenchman that wrote Tintin as a comic book series, that was meant to be licensed to create a special edition which was going to have a rocket on it and things like that, but they said they didn't want it in the end. They redacted and wanting to be supporting that as a special edition model or a watch associated with Tintin at all. And this red and white pattern was meant to be when Tintin was going to fly to the moon. So there was obviously a connection between the moon and the Omega Speedmaster, the first watch on the moon, as many of you may or may not know, and that was going to be a great connection, but it flopped in the end. But there was already the dials made, so they effectively made an unknown amount. There's up to 2,000 is speculated, but again, it's all speculation. How many were actually made? And effectively was just that colorway around the minute track, with the red and the white. It's interesting now that there's been an homage to this watch by a Chinese company. So the best way for you to get that look without having to spend a fortune and trying to find the original Omega Tintin, it has to be, it's only a nickname. It's not actually been ever officially released. So how good is this Phylida homage? Is this going to help you if you really want to get something with that Omega Speedmaster look for approximately £100-ish with an interesting movement? Let's flip this camera around and take a closer look. See you in a sec. Before I get started, I want to give a massive thanks to a subscriber. Brian, you are an absolute legend. You always say very kind things, and your offer to lend me this watch was hugely appreciated. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the straps that you have selected from me, which I'm so happy to give you as a thank you for supporting the channel, mate. Thanks so much. Now, we are going to need assistance for this first part, and that is a specification. And we've got a new guest on the channel, a new assistant. We've obviously got the well-known Mr. Minch, and we've also got ever faithful Gipas. These are all my tools to give you all the information you need, but there's one more addition to the gang. It's Di, the diamond selector. And this is the first thing we're going to do, is to verify whether this lovely bit of sapphire on here is actually sapphire. So the cool thing is about these diamond selectors is you have a little rubber stopper to protect there, but you have to warm it up, which is really weird. So this is warming up, and then you can adjust the volume of how loud it beeps, or the sensitivity. So I normally only have it on about 1 or 2, otherwise there you go, it's ready. So you get an idea of, get a little beep when it's done. So we have sapphire. Now let's check out the underneath. As you can see, it's only reading 2, which is meaning it's a mineral underneath. So thanks, Di. Oh, she's getting excited. Right, let's put her over there. Now, next thing you need to know is the weight. So Gibas is going to assist. So how much does Phylida way. This is sized up for Brian on the supplied metal bracelet. So it's quite weighty, 169, 170. So it's, no, so I won't touch. Sorry, Gipas. So yeah, quite weighty, but not too heavy. And now we're going to move on to the dimensions, because these are important things for those of you who, well, no, is this going to look right on your wrist? And I'll show it on my wrist in a minute. Case size is difficult to measure because there's lots of nooks and crannies to get around. So I'll try it from there. It's a 42, but then if you do it from there, it says 41.9, so it's about the same. So let's call it a 42. It's quite a big size, but got a nice big dial area, and that's 33. So it's in proportion to its case size, I would say, which is very good news. So if you were to keep it on its standard bracelet, which is very nice, by the way, but I'll go into detail in a minute. Got these very straight male end links of the solid end links. Takes 56. When you take that off and put it on a different kind of strap, it goes right down to 48.7. So you want this watch to wear better on a smaller wrist. I'd say maybe you have to consider swapping the bracelet out for a different strap. The thickness of this watch, including that slightly domed sapphire, is 14.3, quite thick. And then the bracelet is 20, and it's straight. There's no taper on it at all. It's most the same somehow. Literally as straight as an arrow all the way down, which is quite cool. But I think it would look a bit better with the taper. Double pushers here. It's all milled. It's all well finished. It's just a shame that these end links are so awkward looking. So let's get this on my wrist. I have a 7-inch wrist, so you get an idea of how it's going to look on you if you were to wear this. It works for me just about. And see, we're on the cusp of it being too long. See here, that's in line with the edge of my wrist. See there, it makes it a lot more of a longer looking watch. So bear that in mind. So the materials, this is all stainless steel with a mixture of brushed and polishing. As you can see, we've got nice brushing on the sides. This lovely sort of chamfered design bezel, which houses the aluminium tachymeter bezel insert. It's got a lovely design, almost looks like a spaceship. Really cool. And then we have lots of brushing on the bracelet. Only a little bit of polishing, but there's a nice bit of detail on these parts of these links, which is really good. And the end links are solid as well. Really easy to take the bracelet on and off, actually. I had no trouble swapping it out for the straps, which I tried it on, and obviously put the bracelet back on for the video, because this is the standard strap that comes with the piece, so it's worth knowing that. This is sapphire, as I proved earlier, and it's got a lovely bit of double dome distortion there. Look at that. Very interesting. And the dial configuration is the same as what would be on the Omega, which this is paying homage to, which is great. You've got the 30-minute counter for when you're running the tachymeter, 12-hour indicator here for the time, and we've got your counting seconds track there. So the way you wind this watch up is there's no screw down crown aspect, so you literally turn the crown, and it's quite a nice size crown. I have to grab Minch again to show you how big this crown is. Considering you're going to use it a lot because it's manual wind, you want it to be a good size. So it's over 6mm, which is something I would say is the bare minimum for a crown when you're manually winding it a lot. Otherwise it is just too fiddly. And it sticks out just the right amount. So the movement inside this is the ST19, but specifically the ST1902. And the way that's signified is the fact it has 3 dials with the small seconds at the 9 o'clock. You have the 30-minute indicator, and like I said, there's the 12-hour indicator. Then there's the 1903. The only difference is you've got a 24-hour indicator at the 6 o'clock position. So quick bit of history behind this movement, which I'm going to show you here. This is a gorgeous movement. Is back in the 50s and 60s, there was 3 major producers of chronograph movements in Switzerland. There was Valjoux, Lamina and Venus. And I think that's how you say Lamina. Someone correct me. Anyway, Venus wanted to be really competitive, so they were going to sell off the machinery. They made their existing caliber 175, and they sold it to China because the Soviets already were working on their own setup. So China got involved and said, "We'll have that off you." They bought it, and they wanted to save money basically. Instead of buying in movements for all their watches, they wanted to be independent and create and literally make their own, which they did. And they upgraded the movement from the 175 to 19 jaw movements, and effectively they developed the movement using the machinery. And it all started out in the infamous 1963 Seagull, which is the military watch. And it's been evolved, and there's many variants. Like I said before, there's 2-dial variations, the ST1901, then there's 2-dial ST1905 with a power reserve indicator, and then there's the ones with 3 dials, as we have on this watch. And the functionality is lovely. The top pusher, very mechanical, lovely feel. You push it in and we've got nice, fast ticking. Now, this is a 21,600 beats per hour movement, and it has a 51-hour power reserve. As long as you're not using the chronograph all the time, you probably lose up to 10 hours if you're always using it and fiddling with it all the time, which, knowing me, you probably will. So then you press stop and then reset. So snap back. See that movement there? That part of the movement moved there, and you press stop, and then you can press reset. It's lovely to see this all in action. Look at those lovely brass gears turning beautifully. It's just such an interesting piece because it's got that Chinese heritage with the movement, and it's paying tribute to a rare and unusual moon watch. It's just good fun. Before I get carried away, let's look at this watch out of the studio setting and look at it in some natural light. So you're back again, guys. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to give my overall thoughts and opinions on this watch and let you know if it's what I think should be something you would consider if you can get hold of one, of course. Look for them used, look for them secondhand, pressurize Phylida to make more, because they have made more. They did a limited run again. Customer services are going to be listening to you guys saying you want to watch. They're going to try and make some more. These sell out so fast, and I think that is because of the aesthetic and what you get for your money. Start with my likes, which is pretty much everything to a degree. My few things I think they could work on, and then we will conclude the video there, guys. So the likes are the overall fit and finish is extremely good. The brushing, Phylida seems to have very nice smooth brushing. There's no sharp edges anywhere. The bracelet is well honed. It's really well machined. I forgot to show you this earlier, guys. Sorry. It has a pointless diver's extension because this doesn't have a huge amount of water resistance, and that is too big for a sweaty day extension. So it's kind of pointless, but you know, it's there. But it does feel well made and well engineered. The gorgeous dome sapphire crystal is a real positive. The movement is a huge positive. The aesthetics is a huge positive as well. It's a great looking watch, I must say. Let's get it back on wrist. Now the negatives is these end links. They are too straight and make the lug to lug effectively far too long for my wrist personally. Is a little bit close to comfort. This colorway is great for strap choices. You can put it on a red strap, a black strap, one with red stitching. It's going to work with so many different changes and variations. And the strap I'm giving Brian was 2 here, but I'll show you this one. Putting it on the deep red because it just goes really well. I'm not putting it on because I wanted Brian to have it. Literally, it's brand new. This has not been worn on a watch yet. It says it's brand new, so I don't want it on the watch and bend the leather, because as you can see, let's get this in the middle, how nice that looks. So it really suits it. So that's always a solution. You can change out the strap. It's no big deal. And I just love looking at that movement. But you know, it's the one big thing that people are often going to criticize is the name Phylida. As I've said in previous videos, and I've done a lot of Phylida videos because I find them very interesting as a newcomer. They've got really good fit and finish. Their quality control is exceptional. Very rare I find something that is a deal breaker. And you know, especially at this money. I mean, we're talking a lot of their watches are under 100, and they're starting to get watches creeping over the £100 bracket. But they're starting to come with PT 5000 movements. Like I said, we've got the ST19 movement. again, at this price point, it's interesting. I love the functionality. It's still a practical chronograph movement watch. And I like the fact it's manual wind. Again, that's cool. It's got a lovely feel to the crown. A little bit awkward to get to with these pushes in the way, but you get used to it. So dislikes, like I've said, is the name's a bit squiffy, and the bracelet is okay. Well finished, but like I said, the end link's not great. But overall, what an awesome watch for the money. And I just want to repeat my thanks and gratitude to Brian for lending me this watch. I've thoroughly enjoyed researching it and then putting this video together. It's been great fun. And I'd say this is an incredibly faithful and decent homage to that infamous rare Omega. And if you want to get a similar look for an absolute microscopic amount of money compared to that Omega, try and get one of these if you can. But these are rare now as well. How ironic. A Chinese homage version of a Omega is actually rare as well and hard to get. What is it about Tintin? Lord knows. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun and it's good character. A bit like me, guys. So, been a pleasure. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.